Welcome back, St. Lucia. And as I said before we went on break, this show is going to be hot. It's going to be spicy. You know, in an era where diabetes, hypertension, and non-communicable diseases are all the rage, this is all we ever hear about almost on a daily basis. Doctors advising proper diet and cardiovascular exercise. But yet these scourges are still around and people are not heeding this advice. Tonight, we're going to explore a new way to keep those scourges, those non-communicable diseases at bay. It is the return of passion. And I'm not going to say any more. I am just simply going to introduce you to my guest this evening. He is a medical doctor. Yes, he's a medical doctor, a ladies' doctor. What the men like to say, he's a ladies' doctor. You know, and a lot of time our men think, oh, he's a ladies' doctor. He's going to be very popular with the ladies. Most ladies stay away from him. He will be the first to tell you that he has to constantly caution his patients to come see him. You know, come see him yearly. You know, don't wait until something has gone wrong to come see him. Just come once a year. But he's more than just a medical doctor. He is the love doctor. And I'm not going to delay any longer. I know a lot of you are wondering, who is that love doctor? His name is Dr. Peter Valentine St. Rose, and he is my guest this evening. Now, you must be wondering, he's a love doctor. He is also the CEO of Salsa St. Lucia. Good evening, doctor.
Hi, Laura. How
are you? I'm good.
I'm very well. I'm very well.
Great.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So, tell us a little bit about who Peter Valentine is. Valentine. That's a very curious name, to say the least.
Well, there's nothing very curious about it. It's just that I happen to have been born on the 14th of February. So that all that.
So you're a love baby.
Oh yes, man. Once, twice, three, and many times over.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Right.
So you're an OB/GYN by profession.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell us why you went into the medical profession. How did you get enticed or lured into that profession?
Right. It's a profession which from young I found it to really help people in a way that's, you know, very passionate. I always envisage it as something in which, you know, there was a problem you could solve it, and, you know, there was an immediate satisfaction from it, you know. So that's what lured me. Mm-hmm. And that's also what led me to the specialties that are more surgical in nature, because, you know, it's finite, and, you know, I mean, the solutions are like, you feel it like that.
Right.
So why did I go into obstetrics and gynecologists? Because the best patients in the world are ladies.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lady's the best patient.
Yes.
And we know that because men are often very afraid to go to the doctor.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. That's correct. You know, obstetrics and gynecology is so broad. You know, I mean, it's about surgery, it's about internal medicine, it's about pediatrics. You know, it covers a wide range, so it makes it exciting. Mm-hmm. And it's also very finite. You know, there are many specialties in which you read and read and read and read. You know, I mean, it's finite and it's very practical. So, you know, that's why I love it.
Yeah. So, did you come from a medical family, or were you the first in your family to decide to go into medicine, or you just discovered this love for medicine? Well,
I must say that my brother is a physician also. He's an internist. We spoke about that, you know, and it's something which we dreamed about doing. He ventured into the profession before me, and I mean, he was like an inspiration also. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, in my preamble, I spoke about non-communicable diseases like diabetes and hypertension, and, you know, we have one of the highest rates per capita of diabetes worldwide. How often do you experience or come across diabetic patients and hypertensive patients in your practice?
Okay. Diabetic patients, I mean, you know, yes, I do see quite a few of them, but I see a lot of it in the context of the pregnant lady. There's a phenomenon called gestational diabetes. That is, diabetes when the lady gets pregnant. So, you have young people who are not diabetics as yet, but during a pregnancy, because of the state of the insulin, the influence of the pregnancy, they get into a state where they become diabetic. It's a temporary state, but it gives an interesting indication as to who's going to be diabetic later in life. So as we have, the percentage of gestational diabetics, a little alarming. So, that's where I see most of it.
Right. So now we're going to stick on diabetes for a little while longer.
Okay.
With the gestational diabetes, you mentioned that it's an indicator of who is going to be diabetic later on.
Sure.
Is there any way to avoid having gestational diabetes while pregnant? Do you have an idea before? Is there a marker that this person is predisposed to gestational diabetes?
Sure. There are certain indices like weight, like family history. These are two very two indices that the most common indices. But everybody has to be screened because you may not be obese, you may not be overweight, you may not be sedentary, and because of your family history, which you can have it. So by design, we screen everybody, and we see, we identify them and we manage them in such a way that there are no adverse effects to the baby during pregnancy and delivery.
Okay. So a woman who knows that she has a history of diabetes in her family, is there anything that she can do while pregnant or at the inception? She's just found out that she's pregnant, or she's planning to get pregnant, to avoid or to minimize the risk of becoming diabetic?
Well, it's all about lifestyle. A lot of us go around not exercising, so, we are sedentary. A lot of us are overweight. A lot of us eat badly. A lot of us, know that we are predisposed, but we have a sweet tooth. So, yes, your lifestyle is fundamental to this whole situation. In addition to that, prior to pregnancy, we really should be do what is called preconceptional counseling, which, because of our healthcare system and the fact that people don't get prepared for pregnancy.
Right. It's almost like a surprise.
Right. That's neglected. People don't plan the pregnancy, so you don't have an opportunity to counsel people and get them in the best state prior to pregnancy. So people come into pregnancy. Some of them are already diabetic, some are not, but they have the potential to develop. So we catch them at booking, which is the time at which they come in,
right.
And because of that, we need to work with this limitation.
Okay. Now, diabetes is one thing. What about hypertension? Do you often get ladies coming to you, they're pregnant, and then their blood pressure is elevated, and they don't know?
Not as such. The lady who comes in with a history of hypertension, has chronic hypertension, and more often than not, they know. In my practice, I don't see many people who come in not knowing and are hypertensive. However, there's a phenomenon called pregnancy-induced hypertension. That is hypertension that comes as a result of the pregnancy. Pregnancy is quite dangerous,
Oh boy.
Yeah, it is. it can be. So, so these people get hypertension as a result of the pregnancy, and it usually settles after the pregnancy. So yeah, there's this phenomenon. So we need to be vigilant.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've touched on a little bit about diabetes and hypertension. There's a
Absolutely.
reason. There's a reason why I'm asking about diabetes and hypertension, because it's prevalent in my family. So every time I get an opportunity to grill a doctor about it, I will do so. So we know that one of the ways to combat diabetes and hypertension, as you said, is lifestyle changes or the lifestyle that we choose
Sure,
to live.
absolutely.
And one of the things that doctors often say is that you need to get in your exercises. Yes, it's important to get in your vegetables and have a healthy diet, but it's also important to exercise. One of the reasons that we hear a lot of people don't exercise is that it's tedious, it's boring, you got to go to the gym, I'm self-conscious, people are watching me. But you present an excellent way of getting in your exercise and having fun while exercising.
That's correct.
Right. So tell us now a little bit about Salsa St. Lucia, how you got involved in the salsa whole dance movement.
Okay. Interestingly, I did my undergraduate studies at the University of Havana in Cuba. So that's where I got exposed to the Latin fever, if you want to call it this way. I'm bilingual. Spanish is my other language. And that's where I got my first baptism, my exposure. I came back to St. Lucia, and it was there, it lay latent. And in 2010, I felt the desire to start to dance, and but actually I had an injury to my shoulder and couldn't do my other form of sport. So I figured, wow, dance is cool, I wouldn't, put much pressure on my shoulder, and I could, still remain active. So I joined a group called Expose, and, I learned, the form of dance, which was all different from what I did back in Cuba. Stuck around them for a little while, maybe about 2 years. And then in February of 2013, Salsa St. Lucia was, founded.
Now, salsa is, I remember a few years ago, was a big craze. It died out a little bit, and we're seeing a resurgence with your company.
That is correct. Salsa was introduced here in St. Lucia 17 years ago by an engineer called Len Leo. They call him the King, El Rey. He's from the UK. St. Lucian parents. He lives in St. Lucia currently. A very positive, very nice gentleman, very Lucian gentleman. So he's actually one of my mentors. So he brought salsa to St. Lucia. That's about 17 years ago. He faded out of the salsa scenario because of the pressures of work, etc. Although he's around still, and he encourages us and inspires us. So there was it's true, it started big, and over the years, I suppose it just mellowed down a little bit. And this is what I saw in 2013. I saw that salsa had a potential, or Latin dance rather, had a potential in many ways, but this potential was not being harnessed. So in 2013, we decided, what, let's form an event that could bring people together. Now, mind you, there was salsa taking place, but we just thought we could try to make it a little more inclusive. Right. So this started with an event we had at Blue Hotel. That's how Blue came about. Right. So, we'd do an event there every Friday in 2013. And that's how it all started. And
is this event still going on?
Well, yes, it's still going on, but, qualitatively better going in terms of, the quality, different, it's really, developed to a great extent.
Is it there a title for this event? Is it just a salsa event? Is it just, what, if I were to tell somebody about it, how would I?
Yeah, it's our Friday Latin party. Our Friday salsa party.
Right. And it's every Friday
No, right. Currently we do it the last Friday of every month.
Oh, so it's not every Friday?
No, it's not every Friday. It's the last Friday of every month. Also, we do another event at Kibis Bar in Rodney Bay, which is on the second Friday of every month. Yeah. So we do two events every month. We do 2 events every month. We started in 2013. At the time when we started, there was just like 1 Latin dance company in St. Lucia. To date, we've got about 4 Latin dance companies in St. Lucia. So, we've been catalyzing the whole expansion of the Latin phenomenon.
So for instance, myself, I don't dance Latin music.
Right.
I don't remember when the last time I danced.
Oh, you're great.
I don't remember the last time I danced.
Right.
But if somebody like me, I don't dance Latin, I probably have never danced Latin music before. How do I get into this whole movement? I think it's sexy, it's passionate. How do I get into that if I wanted to incorporate that into my daily my form of exercise?
It's very simple. We've got a Facebook page called Salsa St. Lucia. You like this page, and it's all at your fingertips. That is one. So let me just tell St. Lucians, go out there. All the information about us is there. SALSASAINTLUCIA. That's our logo. You go out there, like the page, and all the information is there. So what do? We do classes. And here's the thing. Our motto is anyone can dance. And it's coming out of my experience as a teacher over the last 2 years. I could make anybody dance in 8 weeks. Trust me.
Even somebody like me with 2 left feet.
That is correct. People with 2 left feet are the best dancers.
Oh, really?
Because you know what? They learn. You've got nothing, they've got no bad habits. They're great. And I love these patients. Sorry, these dancers.
Dancers, the patients, yeah. Yeah. It takes patience to teach people with no history of dancing. So.
No, it's easier to teach people with no history of dancing. Right? For me, yeah, sure, because what you do, you really teach you teach them to feel music, and the body. We're from the Caribbean, man, and I don't care how problematic you are or how skewed you are, you will dance.
Okay. Do you take, so how often do you have?
Right. We have 8-week cycles for beginners. So for instance, we started this year on the 2nd of February. We go for 8 weeks, and then we start another cycle. So in April, we'll be starting another cycle. And so every 8 weeks, we have a new cycle of people who learn. And then after they graduate as beginners, they then graduate to another level, and another level, and another level.
And how, so are these classes run concurrently? The beginners and the intermediate and the more advanced?
Yeah, on the same day. On the same day. On a Tuesday, we'll teach like 3 classes, a beginner's class from 6 to 7, an improver's class from 7 to 8, and an intermediate class from 8 to 9.
Okay. So the locations that you mentioned for your events are all in the north?
Right.
I'm from the south.
Right. Well, let me just say to you that manpower is, we limited by manpower for now. Okay, you need to have, the right amount of instructors and other things before you venture out. So you need to consolidate what you have first. Unfortunately, when you have a company like this, it has to sustain itself. Right. And you need to start where you could sustain yourself. And then when you've built your human resources, you have, other resources, then you can move out. Notwithstanding, we've done work in Choiseul, for instance. Over the last year, we had an icicle movement, or we have a icicle movement in Choiseul, which we do on a Saturday.
Where do you guys have that? Every Saturday or?
Yeah, it's every Saturday.
Every Saturday,
sure.
Okay. And where in Choiseul is that? Is that in Lafag or?
We did it in a place called Reunion.
Okay, Reunion.
We had several locations because, you have
Choiseul is so big.
Right.
Right.
So we did that down there. We also did South Louis Community College. As a matter of fact, about 3 of our performers came out of South Louis Community College. Okay. So yeah, we've done work outside of Rodney Bay. Right. But the events, because of, the locations, the studios, this type of things, you want that to be ideal. So for now, this is the best place. One day we'll have enough resources to have our own studio, and then,
But if somebody were to invite you to hold a symposium or something outside of your base, is that something that you would do?
Absolutely. Okay. Oh yeah, sure.
So how do we get in touch with you if we wanted to, outside of just your website?
Sure. Our number is 720-6975.
Say that slowly.
720-6975, or salsastlucia@gmail.com. But listen, if you like our page, all the information is on there. So everybody in St. Lucia has a telephone. Hey, we should be on this telephone.
All right.
Just like us. Wonderful. Like us. We love you. Like us.
We're due for a break. When we get back, more of the passion, the dance of passion with Dr. Peter St. Rose.